All right, Shalom. Zahab, GMS, Mississippi Camp, giving our honor and glory to Yahweh and His Son Yahweh Shai, giving double honors to the apostles of GMS, and also saying salutations to the elect out there. All right. Um, Today I'm going to go into a topic entitled "Nature versus Nurture." All right, because in psychology you have a theory called nature versus nurture, where psychologists study a person's behavior and based on their nature and the study of their behavior based on how they were nurtured in a society or in an environment. Nature versus nurture. All right. And one thing that the spirit is on me to go into is basically women and their nature versus women and how they were nurtured. All right. And their behavior. All right. Because in America, women aren't nurtured to be wives. They aren't groomed to be women. They've been denurtured per se. So the American culture doesn't groom women into being women or wives. They really groom them into being whores based on the feminist movement and other things that took place in America. And since we're getting on black women, we have to understand, well, black, Hispanic, Native American women, we have to understand their behavior and how nurture, American culture has altered their behavior. All right. When I was maybe a couple years ago, it was raining pretty bad one day. I was coming home from work, and I heard a cat like meow, and it was a cat under a car, and the cat just followed me to my apartment, and I opened the door, just slipped in, and I thought, man, that's pretty cool. I have a little pet cat, just something to kind of mess with, man. Anyway, I go to the dollar store. I buy like cat food and stuff, man. I'm thinking I really finna have like just some little companion around the apartment. But as soon as it started raining, the cat walks outside, see that it's not raining, and I never saw that cat a day in my life again. But the spirit helped me to get a book about cats. And I studied the nature of cats. And I went into their history. And in their history, the only reason why they were domesticated with humans in the first place, because their particular civilization, I believe it was Ham in Egypt, they were infested with rats. So I believe it's the bobcat, the wildcat is their ancestor. But basically, the only reason why cats even mingle with humans because humans had something that the cats wanted. The humans had something that benefited the cats. The cats prey on what? Rats and rodents. So the cats domesticated themselves, or they intertwined themselves with human beings, because the humans had something that the cats wanted, and that was the rats. It wasn't the fact they actually wanted to be around humans at all. So and something I realized, women are like cats. You have to provide a cat an environment. You have to provide a cat security, comfort, and all that. Then they'll purr against you and all that stuff. But usually they're purring against you either because you've already provided that for them, or they want something from you. Unlike a dog is just happy to see you. So to say men are like dogs it can actually be a compliment, because dogs are loyal. But to say women are like cats can actually be a bad thing, because cats only use you for what you can provide for them. All right, despite what the Matrix has told you, despite what Babylon has told you. All right, so that's a woman's nature. That's the nature of a female. But women say they want to get married. They basically want their security. Right? It's not that she's so in love with you and she wants to spend the rest of her life with you and she's want to marry you. No, it's just you're going to provide some type of security for her as a woman, as her female nature requires. All right. Now let's look at the nurture of women in the ancient world. This guy's in the scriptures. I think it's in Timothy's. Don't quote me on this. It says, "Wives, love your husbands." So what does that tell you? In the ancient world, a woman was nurtured to like love your husband. Like, yeah, that's the Israelite. In the ancient world, her frame of reference of a so-called black man was not that of a black man, but actually the man, then lineage went back to the ancient kings in Israel, like the ancient heroes. It's like she knew that was him. So she had no problem calling him Lord, you know? That was her nurture. She was nurtured to know how to cook, clean, be a keeper of the house. That was part of our society's expectations back in our homeland. Okay, a woman, she was supposed to be domestic in the house. You know, that was her nurture. So when she saw her mother be submissive to her father, that was her role model. Her mother was modeling that role on how to be when she went out on her own and got her when a man married her. And she saw her father figure. She saw a man be a man in the household, and she saw a woman react to that man in a submissive manner. That's her nurture. All right. She didn't have that on this side. She doesn't have that on this side. She has a mother, but she doesn't see her mother interact with one man her whole life. So she doesn't have that frame of reference, that figure. A figure is an image. She doesn't have that image in her mind on how to be. Or she doesn't have a model to model out that role as to how she should be. All right. So she has really no nurture. You know what I mean? She has no nurture that's conducive to producing a family structure. So these women out here in the world, in the hood and all that, they're really operating off of a primitive instinct. A woman, knowing she's the weaker vessel, she knows she needs security, and that's one of the reasons why she get these street-oriented guys. But it's an artificial sense of security, because this is more than likely the guy is gonna die. More than likely the guy is not gonna be there to actually see his kids, because the way Esau set everything up, this is the guy that's operating on the primitive instinct himself in the streets, falling for Esau's traps. So he's gonna be locked up in jail somewhere, man. But she's operating on a primitive instinct, man. Operating off her nature and not her nurture. That's why the brother went into a lesson on why you should stand your ground with women, because really she's doing what they call a shit test, man. She's seeing if you're gonna actually stand your ground with her, man. And if she see that you could bend, she see that as weakness. And she see you display weak characteristics, she's gonna feel insecure, because she feels like, well, if he's a weak man, then he's not gonna protect me. All right. So when she does that, she's doing something that's very primitive in her nature, and that's testing you to see if you're actually manly, so to speak. So although she might evoke you to feel guilty, really, if you actually went off that guilt, she'll inwardly feel turned off, because she feel like she has no hedge around her. All right. But this is just a quick lesson demonstrating nature and nurture in America, and how our women, the Israelite woman, has been denurtured in America, and is basically operating off a primitive instinct and off of the ideologies of feminism and white supremacy, man. So that's like 3 different demons in her, man. She's been denatured from her heritage. Denurtured from her heritage, contaminated with feminism, and contaminated with white supremacy. With that, I'm gonna bring this lesson to a closing. Until the next lesson, shalom.